Welcome, all of you. I'm Reverend Mark Abernethy, the pastor here at Wapping Community Church, and I am back today for the fifth in a series of I'm entitling At the Foot of the Cross. As you have seen in the past few days, I have started this video series sitting in a chair. Today I'm standing at the foot of the cross because I'm going to do a little walking around as I speak this day. One of the things I can remember doing from the time I was a small child is going to the Weston Priory, which is a Benedictine monastery in Weston, Vermont. It's about 2.5 hours maybe from South Windsor, Connecticut. And I went there with my parents, and then I went there on my honeymoon, and I've gone there with my own children. It's a wonderful place to go if you want to worship, if you want to listen to wonderful music. The grounds of the Priory are beautiful, and it's a very spiritual, sacred place. So I commend it to you if you are ever in the area of Weston, Vermont. If you want to get a flavor of the Weston Priory, you could also type in Weston Priory on your search engine, and you could either purchase or download some of their music. Their music is the music that they use during their periodic worship services that happen through the day. So I encourage you to do that as well if you choose. The Weston Priory music is just wonderful. Guitar music with singing and very spiritual. And I think it will encourage you in your prayer life and in your worship life, especially during this time when we are isolated from one another. I've always loved going to visit the Weston Priory at different times in my life. I can remember we scattered my father's ashes, or part of his ashes, at the pond where the Weston Priory is. So that's another reason why the space has always felt sacred to me. The brothers who live and pray and worship at the Weston Priory in Vermont, these Benedictine brothers, have a particular practice in their lives where they hold 4 or 5 worship services each day, and they're open to the public. And then they also spend a good deal of time during the day just doing routine chores around the grounds of the Priory. So they work in the garden, and they run errands, and they do various small construction projects. And each brother is assigned kind of his own area of expertise, things that he does during the course of a typical day. But all of this is part of the discipline of being a Benedictine monk. They take time as they are working through their regular routines and the things that they are doing in each day to pray their way through the work that they do. And I have been thinking about that as a wonderful practice to adopt during this time when we are quarantining and isolating from one another. There's a lot to be said for praying our way through our own routines and the work that we are doing day by day. Sometimes that work can be as menial as folding the laundry or cleaning out the clutter in a particular room or dusting and vacuuming. But if you do those things in an intentional way and a prayerful way, it can help add meaning to what you are doing through these days. And I think it helps connect you or me to what God is doing in the midst of all this anxiety and fear. And it may indeed help you connect with others who are going through the same thing. So I encourage you, as you're going through this time of quarantining during the coronavirus, to pray your way through your daily routines. And even if you have to go out of the house, if you have to set foot in a pharmacy or a grocery store or some other essential place, you can look around in the grocery store and you can see people, even if they are total strangers to you. And to me, it helps me to think of them not so much as strangers, but as people who are going through the same kind of thing that I'm going through. They are looking for essentials to feed their family. They may be afraid about going into a public place. They may have their own worries and fears, and even though I don't know necessarily what those are for each person, I can still pray my way through the grocery store or through the pharmacy or through whatever it is that I have to do in my daily routines. So I commend that idea to you, a Benedictine idea, that we pray our way through these days, even in the midst of dullness and boring routines, and each day seeming a little bit the same as the last, and maybe the same in some ways as the next one. If we can spend our time prayerfully connecting with God, even in the midst of the routine, I think it will help give these days more meaning and more flavor and more significance, and it will help connect us to the divine who is with us, even in the midst of isolation. God's blessings to all of you.